So it's been about 14 months since I announced my 5th creator contest, the Gauntlet contest. What I didn't expect when I started this contest was for some of the entries to blow up into mainstream GD as like pretty well-known classic levels, but we'll get around to that later. I want to be honest and upfront in the opening of this video, so let me tell you where things are at. A long time ago, I came up with an idea. I thought it would be cool to have a series of levels where the player has to collect a different artifact of some kind. I went with gems because I have no originality and just basically ripped off the Chaos Emeralds from Sonic. Now after making 2 levels in this series, I pretty quickly realized that this is a massive amount of work and eventually decided to turn to crowdsourcing for the rest of them. But if I'm being honest, since I originally came up with this idea, I've completely lost interest in it. I don't know if I will ever do anything with these crystals again, and if I do, it'll be very minimal stuff. That feels kind of weird to say. It's kind of hard to say when this contest has blown up to just the proportions it has. But I'm a grown-up, I have to make hard decisions sometimes. Still, I wanted to send this series off with a bang, and a bang it will get. In this video, I will be going through the 10 best entries, along with quite a few honorable mentions. These levels were judged not just by me, but by me and my lovely team of judges. These guys really helped a lot. It's nice to not have the entire responsibility of the placement of each levels go like completely on me. It's kind of gives me some peace of mind. So yeah, you should give them all a warm thank you. Except Foxycat, who didn't judge a single entry, but they did make this art. What's the art for? Well, I'm glad you didn't ask. I personally will select 5 of my favorite levels from the top 10 for my very own Gauntlet. This will be slightly different from the top 5 winners. I'll try to select an even spread of difficulties, and also focus on levels with a memorable theme. These will be canon to the Jam Factory universe. But without further ado, here's some honorable mentions. Yeah, we'll get to the results eventually. Hey, surprise! I'm actually recording this part later, so after working on this video for a while, I really felt like I should add more honorable mentions than I had. So the voiceover for most of these is being recorded separately. I thought I'd start our honorable mentions off with places 20 through 11. This contest had so many good entries, and I'd feel kinda bad about not at least mentioning these. So at 20th place we have Water Factory by Waterbound. Most of this deco is pretty solid, though this wave part falls off a lot, kinda out of nowhere. This was one of many factory-themed entries. SS Wubbaduck by Mr. Sock is a pretty solid level. While its decoration isn't quite on par with our top 10, I didn't see any other spaceship-themed levels, and I think that could have been a really cool premise for the Gauntlet. The Biggest Heat by Albergrasser is very well put together visually, though the theme doesn't really immediately jump out to me. And yeah, these levels just keep getting better. The Time Machine by Veyulina is an overall pretty cool looking level with a really fun premise and really good energy. Though the song cuts off in this one part in a way that feels really jarring, and it did lose a few points for that. Red World by I'm not gonna read that, is an absolute carb-filled delight. The creator may not have cooked with this one, but they sure as hell baked. Forbidden Shrine by Bloxy Does GD is rated 9 stars on the servers, but was intended to be a demon, and it's not getting in the Gauntlet, so it's fine to include it here. There were a few desert-themed levels, but this is one of the best. Very fun and looks pretty polished. Sewerscaperer by I'm a Yellow Guy has a pretty unique theme. Didn't really see sewer themes done that much. This level looks very nice, pretty polished, though it does play it very safe. The level looks pretty samey throughout, and it doesn't really try a lot just outside of looking nice. Dead Sea Ghosts by Noisy is a very unique entry. I don't really know what the theme is. This might be referencing something I haven't seen. This also doesn't really fit the contest style, but it's a sick level either way. I love Northwest Manor by Rocky105. Haunted House is surprisingly a pretty underdone theme, and this level pulls it off really well. Would have been kinda cool if this placed, not gonna lie. It's just a bit rough around the edges and parts. Bonus points for the Gravity Falls reference though. And finally, our 11th place entry is Cloudtop Journey by J07. Messy in parts and pretty derivative of Glorious Fortress. This level could stand to do its own thing more. I did want you all to use a similar style to me, but a good few levels feel like they copy more than just the style of Glorious Fortress or Cellar Path. They copy a lot of specific, designs and aspects, and some levels just straight up parts of Glorious Fortress and Cellar Path. This level isn't as bad as a lot of those entries though. Its offenses are pretty minor. This mostly placed so high because the energy is done really well. The sound effects in this level are a little too loud, but other than that, the music representation is really good. If you want to see exactly how all the levels in this contest were ranked, you can check out the forum in the description that me and the judges used. 59 separate entries ended up being judged, so you can go ahead and have a look at those. But, without further ado, it's time for the top 10. Yeah, we're actually doing that now. Good old 10th place. We've got a bit of a history together. Anyway, at 10th place we got Runaway Rail. The fact that a level this good is 10th place in my own contest kind of blows my mind. The decoration is super polished, the world feels very dynamic and alive. I especially really love that cYsmix, the creator, made a little story around how the player gets the red crystal. In classic Western fashion, you rob it from the nearby bank and you gotta fight the sheriff to keep it. This is a lot cooler than what most levels did, which was just stick the gem at the end and call it good. Didn't really do more than that. To be fair, in Glorious Fortress and Cellar Path I did kind of just stick the crystal at the end, so I'm not surprised most people did that, but I like that this level does more. This level also has one part where the train explodes and the camera spins around and round as you try to escape its scattered debris. This is very similar to a certain part in the event level Noelle Electra, but honestly, even if the execution is simpler here, I kind of like it more. The gameplay is pretty fun, although I will complain that the entire level is just cube game mode. It's kinda interesting what they were going for, but I feel like it would have been better if they just changed up the game mode some more. The decoration isn't the most impressive in this contest, but it's still pretty solid, and overall this is a pretty fun level. To continue our honorable mentions, we have the Not Mayo Volcano by Super King Fisher at 59th place. I totally forgot to mention, I had a few people go through all the entries and curate specific levels that were actually worth judging, and so we didn't go through all 200 entries in the forum, we only went through a fourth of them. Which is why CC5 Machine wasn't last place. I'm not entirely sure why this was curated, but there isn't any mayo I could see, so the name doesn't lie. For our next honorable mention, we have Ocean Dive by Carbonok at 24th place. Some of you might be a little surprised to see this not in the top 10. The level looks amazing and plays really well, don't get me wrong. It's just that it's kind of a one-for-one recreation of Crust Cove from Pizza Tower. Now, I'm just as unhealthily addicted to Pizza Tower as the next guy, one of my favorite games, but me and the judges were kinda looking for a bit more originality from these entries. Still, outside the context of this contest, I really like this level. It's fun, and a nice nod to one of my favorite games. Oh my god, Pizza Tower's so good. Do yourself a favor, buy it on Steam right now. And speaking of Steam, at 9th place we have It's Steampunk by Minigun GD77. I like this level, though I don't entirely agree with its placement. I think its decoration is pretty messy and unpolished. Most of the judges seem to really like its gameplay, though it's not personally my taste. This level throws a lot of rapid inputs and game mode changes, and is overall pretty hard to read, which is never something I prefer in levels. I always prefer when levels have simpler, more gimmicky gameplay that's more timing and control based. Still, even if I don't like it, I guess this gameplay score speaks for itself. Overall, I think this is still a pretty cool level with a lot of charm. Steampunk also wasn't a theme we saw that much of. The music representation and energy are really good, and overall a pretty solid level that I can't complain got 9th.
No, Mrs. Benson, nothing's wrong. We're just checking. By the time I was standing on the floor of the
At 57th place, we have The Pink Storm by Yeetmist 2. I just find it funny how most of the level is purple and not pink, despite the name. Pretty strong opening, though. At 54th place, we have Exploration Diary with 2 Ys by Zien. This level is cool. It has some genuinely impressive animations, though, which is crazy, since most of the level looks like, well, this. And finally, for this batch of honorable mentions, we have Jungle Overgrowth by Ghostly. I have to admit, this is a level. 10th place. Now, let me riddle you this. Where do you think your minerals, really come from? The ground? Think again. At number 8, we have Mineral Company by Dead4Beats. This is a really cool looking level with a solid theme and pretty solid progression. The art style is clearly a bit reminiscent of 2003 Devon, but it still fits within the general style this contest was going for. This level also has some pretty cool aspects that are unique to it, specifically. Detailed parallax backgrounds like this one aren't quite like anything else I've seen, and they add a lot of immersion. I really like them. The gameplay isn't anything amazing, but it's pretty good. Overall, a very solid level.
Who wants some?
Mineral Company wasn't the only Devon-styled level in this contest. Mud Bulwark by Thicken sits at 31st place. Overall, I think this is a pretty solid level with some great vibes. I mostly placed it as low as I did for two reasons. One is that while Mineral Company took some inspiration from Devon's levels, this looks much more like it really is just straight up a Devon level. The gameplay is also not that good. Cool level though. My favorite part is probably these low poly looking backgrounds that remind me of like N64 or PlayStation graphics. I think it's a cool aesthetic and it fits the level. Unmatted sits at spot 53. This is a pretty decent level, but it's just like a design level. It looks like this was originally made for a different contest and just kind of thrown into this one. So yeah, I don't really know what you expected, Sidorf. Now at number 7, we have what's probably the funnest level in this entire contest. The Underground by Funky Fries has the highest gameplay score out of any entry, being just 4 points shy of a literal perfect score. Seriously, this is a blast to play and I'd highly recommend going for it. The decoration is also pretty good, very clean and well put together. The energy in this level is done really well, which works in tandem with the click synced and well-flowing gameplay to create a really fun experience. The only thing I'll really criticize about this level is that it does have a pretty big lack of originality. This level uses quite a few ideas from Glorious Fortress at the beginning, and I don't mind that too much, since it's a small portion of the level, and I can see the idea that this level is like supposed to branch off of the same general area Glorious Fortress takes place in, but then the theme after that is underground, which kind of is just the same as Cellar Path. And a lot of these designs, especially the way these bricks are laid out, does feel very just taken from Cellar Path. But at least other than those things, this level does have a unique identity of its own. It doesn't completely copy Glorious Fortress in the same way some of these levels did. But I have to admit, it would have been really cool to see what Funky Fries could have pulled off if they were to use more of an innovative theme. Either way, it's still a fantastic level, and huge congrats on getting the weekly demon. Our next honorable mention is Robotic Arm by Goldsource. This is a really cool level, but sadly, it wasn't submitted in the form or created for this contest in the first place. Just barely making it into the top 50, we have Stew Factory by French Stew. This level's just funny. And Tori goes so hard. At 43rd place, we have Crystal Caverns by Nemo Ding. This is a cute level with a lot of charm, and Nemo made a series on their channel about building this, and I think that's pretty cool. You should check it out. While the Underground is the most fun level in this contest according to its score, Weird Fishes by Aikadi also has pretty incredible gameplay. And that's kind of extra impressive considering this is an insane demon, so the bar is a lot higher. This level was barely turned in on time. The only reason it made it is because I left the form open while we were judging, so we're pretty lucky to have it. This level is honestly incredible. The only reason it didn't place a lot higher than it did is the fact that it doesn't really match the style of Glorious Fortress or Cellar Path. I think the pixelated style is really well done. Aikadi has their own unique thing going with their pixel art levels. They are very different from other pixel art levels you see, and I appreciate that. This is probably their best work yet. Outside of the context of this contest, I think this is an incredible level. I really like it, and I hope it gets a legendary rate. Although me and the judges did have a couple other criticisms, not just about the style match. One I personally have is that the level could have used a lot more camera movement and effects going to the music. It feels pretty static in some parts, considering the intensity of the song. Another criticism a lot of us judges had is that some of the parts last for just way too long. Mainly this UFO section that would have been a lot more immersive if the second half was changed up in some significant way. And the last criticism I got from a couple judges is that this level just doesn't have a lot of fishes for a level named Weird Fishes. Like, sure, it has some, but it could use more. And the fishes it does have are also just not that weird. False advertising much. But all in all, this is a very polished and incredibly fun level with some great atmosphere and a strong theme. I'd highly recommend trying to beat it if it's within your skill range. At 41st place, we have With the Gun and a Burger. We found it, guys! This is the level of all time. I don't know, this level looks nice. It mostly placed pretty low because it copies a lot from Glorious Fortress, and I don't think it really knows what it wants to be. Also, if you've ever ate something and then you violently throw up after for whatever reason, how you feel about that food is about how I feel about America right now. At 33rd place, we have Temple Travel. This level is kind of jank and rough around the edges. I don't know, it just has a certain charm to it. I can definitely see the passion that was put into this. Also, this coin is really cool. It's like a Mario Galaxy style coin where you have to collect the 5 coin fragments. That's a really fun idea. And so now it's time for the long-awaited Top 5. Now, what's better than 2 good apples? Why do you need 2 good ones when you can just have 1 bad apple? This morally ambiguous fruit right here has worked his way to number 5, with a little help from his creator, Atomic Rest. This level kind of made rounds in the GD community when it came out, and it's a pretty iconic level that I'm happy to have as number 5. Krabs, with a K, is just such a fun boss concept. This level is oozing with charm and personality, and is also just really fun to play. I'm not going to comment on that many specifics, but I do really love the way the schoolhouse bounces to the music here. It's so goofy in the best way possible. This entire level is just goofy in the most fun, charming way possible, you know? So yeah, this level isn't really what I had in mind when I created this contest. It's better. This became one of the most iconic levels submitted for a pretty good reason. I'm pretty sure I saw references to this level in multiple other entries. So great job, Atomic Rest. You're good at marketing, I'll give you that. At 25th place, we have Construxy. It's pretty much just a run-of-the-mill modern level. Might seem pretty unassuming on the surface. But what if I were to tell you that instead of a song, this entire level uses only construction noises? Innovation at its finest, if I might say. Seriously though, how do you think of this? I heard over the grapevine a couple people were speculating that Real Legends by Tiklos might make it into the top 10, though it ended up at 29th place. This level looks pretty cool, and I appreciate the effort that went into it, but I kind of get the feeling this wasn't originally made for the contest. I mean, I don't want to jump to conclusions, but it feels like they just stuck a gem at the end of a random level. It seems like it kind of fits the contest style. To be honest, I don't really know what the theme of this level is, but still a pretty solid level, and I think it deserved the epic rate it got. Frozen Factory by Attack Riders has a really cool theme. I actually thought of making a level with this exact same theme using Cycerin's Winter Bliss from Castle Crashers, but I was probably never gonna make that, so it's cool to see it done justice here. One thing me and the judges liked about this level is this sign saying the blue crystal causes blizzards. It's like an extra layer of world building involving the crystal that a lot of these levels didn't try to do. Like I said with Runaway Rail, since I didn't do much with the crystals in my own levels, I didn't expect to see other people do a lot with theirs either, but it's still really cool to see the couple of entries that did. The main problem I have with this level is that for some reason it's all robot gameplay, and most of it is just, like, normal jumps. It would have been really cool to see what this level could have been with more dynamic gameplay, but overall, still a pretty solid level. Don't mind me, I'm just chillin' on the cloud by MSL. This level looks really good. Like, we're getting into some pretty impressive territory at this point. It does take clear inspiration from Air Supply, Windstorm, and Hopping Over Puddles, though it also does its own thing, and those are awesome levels to take inspiration from, completely based. Overall, a really beautiful level with some pretty fun gameplay. The only part I didn't like playing was this spider. It's a little awkward, but the rest of the level's really fun. The atmosphere and music representation are done pretty well, though I think this level has the same issue as Weird Fishes, where it could use some more camera movement and effects to add that extra layer of energy in some parts. But anyway, a super solid level that definitely deserved the 4th place it got. We've just got a few more honorable mentions to get through. Warrior's Journey by Studio Boys, Flying Dragon, and Totally Guessed starts off honestly pretty weak, though the later parts are actually pretty good. This is definitely one of the levels that took too much inspiration from Glorious Fortress, copying a lot more than just the style. But outside of that, this is actually a pretty cool level, and especially this quick time event thingy, like the fight the cube has against this knight, it's so cool, I love this thing. All its little character animations, it goes really hard. Shattered Realms by The Bun sits at 28th place. I don't know, I just personally feel like this deserves to place higher. I guess the other judges didn't agree with me. I rated this 8 points above the average. I don't know, I like it. If it was just my score that counted here, this would be 14th place. So that's like half of what it actually is. So, I don't know, oh well, can't win them all. And finally, I wanted to mention Sandstone Shafts. Technically, this is tied with both 19th and 20th place. The forum just happened to put this at spot 21, but I did also go over multiple other desert-themed entries, so this one wasn't as interesting to me as SS Wabaduck or Water Factory, but it's still a pretty solid level. Nearly 2 years ago, I released the results for my 4th creator contest. The premise being that every level needed to be locked to the in-editor grid. The winning level for that contest was a little project called Core Complex by Z Nickname. An absolutely incredible level considering the limitations. I'd never heard of Z Nickname before, but it was immediately apparent from this level that they are very talented. So I was really excited when I saw they were making a sequel for this contest. And let me tell you, this level does not disappoint. Incredible atmosphere, very well put together designs, just overall a really solid level with a strong and immersive theme. I love it. There are a couple weak points of this level. This level runs pretty bad. The performance is not good. Most of the judges got pretty bad frames on this, so that's a bit of a disadvantage. And the other thing is that just overall the level is pretty hard to see. You need a pretty bright monitor to see all the details, which is a shame because there's so many of them to appreciate. This level definitely would have benefited from better contrast. I wouldn't necessarily say to make the whole thing lighter, but I don't think it would have ruined the gritty theme to make the darks darker and the lights quite a bit lighter. If anything, I think that would add to the level. Still, those are kind of minor nitpicks, and all things considered, this level definitely deserves its number 3 spot. Before we get into our top 2, I wanted to talk about some of the really cool entries that never got finished in time. This Is My Domain by Windraft would have easily been one of the best looking entries. The gameplay's a little and this veers off a decent amount from the contest style, but it still looks really, really good. Outlaw by Xenon has a very polished, colorful look to it that fits exactly what this contest was going for. It's really a shame this was never finished in time, though Runaway Rail still managed to do the Western theme a lot of justice. Cesspool has that usual Brain Eater charm. I was very excited to see Brain Eater making an entry, and I'm kinda sad he didn't finish. I love Brain Eater's levels, he's made some really good ones. It looks like they focused more on Hideout instead of working on this, which is pretty based. Hideout is really good. Man, I'm so glad that level got its deserved spot in the Space Gauntlet. Top Secret by Finstar has some really sick 3D effects, and this easily would have placed if it was finished. And this unnamed entry by Carroty Spice had some arguably even cooler 3D effects. This looks really sick. This was apparently inspired by a trip to Japan, which is kind of cool, I guess. I don't know, Carroty just really seemed to want me to mention that. Another solid level that definitely would have placed if it was finished. And finally, Shining Paladin by Derek is a really cool, somewhat Yo-Read inspired level. Doesn't exactly fit the style of this contest, but it's a pretty sick level either way. So, I guess we're to the top 2 now. For those of you who have been following the contest, you probably have a pretty good idea exactly what these are going to be. When I created this contest, I didn't really expect to see some of the most iconic levels in Geometry Dash get submitted. Didn't really foresee that one, so there's been a lot of talk around a certain level that got both mythic and became the first unplanned event level ever in the game, garnering millions of downloads and views on YouTube. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say this level beats I Spy in popularity, which is completely insane. Before this mysterious unknown level released, oh, what could it be? We were all pretty sure another level would win. One with far less popularity. A bit of a niche level, not exactly mainstream. But even though this level doesn't have the same kind of brazen flair, the same jaw-dropping effects and animations, it still holds a special place for me. And even if it's not that popular of a level, I still would like to say that this is one of the most atmospheric and immersive levels I have ever seen in this game. Which is why I'm proud to announce it won! Golden Child Skeletal Shenanigans by Yoreed and Ayers got 2nd place. I'm genuinely kind of afraid to say that, but it's what happened. The scores don't lie. That's how it turned out. You can put the pitchfork down. Down? I said down. Okay, but seriously, don't go after any of the judges who placed this at number 2. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. This level will be forever cemented as one of the most iconic Geometry Dash creations ever made, regardless of its spot on my silly contest. Don't worry about it, it's still crazy. Anyway, this level is insane. Like I said, it has pretty much surpassed I Spy levels of popularity. I asked Nexus, and apparently I Spy hit 700,000 views in its first 2 weeks, while Skeletal Shenanigans reached about 7 times that. What the I mean, I guess I can see why. Yoreed is easily one of my favorite creators in Geometry Dash, for I feel pretty good reason. He's created many timeless classics like Beat Demon, a level with some of the most fluid animation of its time, Floating Outskirts, a platformer level before platformer mode even existed, with all the mechanics created completely from scratch. On top of that, it's just a very fun level with like a lot of content. Vermin Queen, the only platformer level of its difficulty that I'll actually touch, and now, with the help of Ayers, the two have created possibly the most iconic level in this entire game, like, pretty much ever. I don't think that's an exaggeration. Like, maybe unless you're counting the main levels, or the classics like 9 Circles or Bloodbath. Yet this level's insane, and I still can't wrap my head around its impact. Ayers did a good few things to help with making this level, making a few backgrounds, some block designs, color grading the level apparently, though Yoreed did make the majority of it. Man, where do I start? This level is so just like oozing with personality, and a bit of lava too. I don't think I've seen a mythic level do what this one does before. They all either just look really good, or are full games made in platformer mode, or both, but this level's different. This level innovates. It really knows how to just do one thing right in each part and focus on that in a way that makes it so memorable. The zooming parallax as you're fired out of this cannon, the way this skull consumes the moon, this Cuphead-looking boss fight with some 3D effects and some of the coolest animations I've ever seen in this game. This whole chase sequence, the way all these skeletons are animated as they fight each other for the crystal, even this end screen, which was not only inspired by Glorious Fortress, but the outline is actually by the same exact person who made the outline for the Glorious Fortress end screen. By the way, it's really cool comparing these two end screens side by side and seeing just how much arc draws has improved. So anyway, there are so many iconic moments in this level. Even the way it opens immediately sets the tone. The decoration all looks super good, the gameplay is really fun, the theming and atmosphere are done super well, and this manages to stay in a pretty similar style to Glorious Fortress and Cellar Path, while also very much innovating on its own identity. This is very much the perfect level for this contest, and as a whole, I can see why this is becoming an all-time classic. Oh my god, amazing job to Ayers and Yoreed for putting together this masterpiece of a level.
Run.
Forgotten Metropolis by Ludwig managed to get first place by a whopping half a point. It was really close. While this level might not be as instantly iconic as Skeletal Shenanigans, I'm still not surprised it placed this high. This level blew my mind when it came out, and it still does. The atmosphere is just so unreal, I love it. If you haven't seen or played this, then I'd highly suggest you check it out. It's a beautiful level with really pretty fun gameplay, and it definitely deserved the highest atmosphere score out of any level submitted. The way you slowly rise through this abandoned city, the detailed, torn apart environment, all the atmospheric effects like rain and fog and clouds flying past, this water, this freaking water, with like the gradient triggers, it looks so good! This will be water graphics in 2005. This level is incredibly well crafted with so much attention to detail. This warping part here is super iconic, and overall this is just such an amazing experience to play. While I do think Skeletal Shenanigans probably deserved the win, it was really close despite this level getting a lot less attention. And at the end of the day, I can see why this won. I know there's probably going to be a lot of people who are genuinely, really upset about that. But this was the decision the judges made, and at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. So I want to reiterate, please don't harass any of the judges over this. I feel like I really need to make that clear. But yeah, good job to Ludwig on the win. He's an incredibly talented and underrated creator, and you should definitely check him out. This really is a whole David and Goliath situation. Anyway, here's the level. Enjoy. So, now I bet you're all wondering exactly what the Jam Gauntlet will look like. And here's the part where I talk about that. Like I mentioned earlier, this isn't an exact reflection of the top 5, and instead I went through the top 10 to pick a good range of difficulties from levels with a strong and memorable theme. I considered putting the Underground in the Gauntlet simply because of how fun it is, but since the level is pretty derivative and there are more iconic options, it sadly won't make it in. Go play the level though, seriously, like it's really, really fun. To open our gauntlet, we start off with one bad apple. Definitely a pretty strong opening. A bad choice? Maybe. Next up we have Skeletal Shenanigans. Shocking. After that we have Corium. I really debated whether I should put in Corium or Chillin' on the Cloud here. There's good reasons for both. Chillin' on the Cloud is more fun to play in my opinion, and it's also more of a stylistic break from Bad Apple and Skeletal. Corium feels a little more aesthetically similar to those levels. But Corium did place higher. It has a stronger theme than Chillin' on the Cloud. This takes place in a malfunctioning nuclear power plant, which is a lot more specific than just ooh pretty cloud level. Also, Chillin' on the Cloud and Forgotten Metropolis do have really similar progression, but the difference with Forgotten Metropolis is that it has a much stronger in-world reasoning for its progression. And speaking of which, that one comes next. Forgotten Metropolis, it's in the Gauntlet. Wow, I'm so surprised. And finally, for the Insane Demon in this Gauntlet, I debated between Mineral Company and Weird Fishes, since they're both in the top 10. Mineral Company definitely fits within the contest style a lot better, but I've decided to go with Weird Fishes. Mineral Company has more similar vibes to Bad Apple, Skeletal Shenanigans, and Corium. I feel like Weird Fishes changes things up a lot more, which I like. The gameplay is also just really good, which I feel is important when it comes to the second hardest level being included. Of course, the hardest level is Cellar Path, and Glorious Fortress will be included as well. Yes, this is a 7-level gauntlet. I can technically just do that. Keep up. If RobTop sees this, which he might, I don't know, please make Glorious Fortress and Cellar Path optional to complete the list. At the very least, Cellar Path should definitely be optional. Great job to the winners, and go try out the Gem Gauntlet. I'll also be putting the other 5 levels in the top 10. That is Chillin' on the Cloud, The Underground, Mineral Company, It's Steampunk, and Runaway Rail, into a second list. I was originally gonna call this second gauntlet Jam Gauntlet B-side, but after having enough requests to call it the Jelly Gauntlet, I've caved and decided to do that, even though neither of these actually have anything to do with Jam. This was kind of a last-minute decision, so I never had art made for the Jelly Gauntlet, so I'm just gonna... There we go, that's good. And I will make a third list of some of the entries I found just like really funny. I wanted to make one of that. That's all, those are the lists. So, yeah. What do I do from here? I have to be honest, I still can't completely wrap my head around everything that's happened. Skeletal Shenanigans hitting record-breaking success has definitely been on my mind quite a bit. Believe me, part of me would love to super hype up this whole video, capitalize off the success of Skeletal Shenanigans, start really going into developing this world centered around these crystals, go all in, making one big project after another, but I'm not going to do that. It's hard to say that this is where it ends. Everything that's been going on has started to put things in perspective for me. You see, Skeletal Shenanigans was never created to reach its massive levels of success. It was created as a passion project, and its success was a reflection of that passion and care. I talk to Yorid sometimes, and he's a pretty cool individual who just makes really cool stuff because he likes to make cool stuff. And I really respect that. I respect that he has, like, no desire to capitalize off of the success of Skeletal Shenanigans. He just wants to keep making stuff that he's excited to make. And I think I could learn something from that, to be honest. Of course, Ayers, or Liam, is also milking the level a lot more, but we'll ignore that guy. Silly Liam. Also, I won't really be doing more stuff with the crystals, and it's kinda inconclusive if I'll do more with the Jam Factory universe as a whole. I might, but I don't know right now. But if you want to make your own, like, fan-made stuff for this universe, if you find that idea exciting, then by all means go for it. I'd love to see what you guys come up with. Anyway, probably shouldn't avoid this part anymore. Ludwig wins $100, Yorid and Ayers win $50, they can split that however they want, Z Nickname gets $30, and both MSL and Atomic Rest win $10. I will contact each one of these people on Discord to work out the details, so if y'all are watching, just let me know if you don't have a Discord and we need to, like, work something else out, another way to contact each other. I'll probably try to use PayPal, but we can figure something out if that doesn't work for you. So yeah, that's the contest. But before I go, it seems I actually missed an entry. One second. Wubbaduck Dungeon may not be the most pretty level. It may not have the most interesting gameplay. It may not have a clear theme or much atmosphere at all. It may not fit the style this contest was going for whatsoever, but oh my god, the amount of Wubbaducks in dungeons is through the goddamn roof! This is record-breaking numbers, oh my god. Also, I did lie about all those other things. This level is incredible in every way, specifically because of Shad's ratings. Thanks, Shad. It's also pretty great, according to Jaint, I have to give it that. Overall, a very well-deserved 0th place, at an average score of 1,666,667,191 points. This level wins $12 trillion, which will come straight out of Elon Musk's bank account. Thanks for watching.